Hey guys, AU79 Chemistry here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make magnesium chloride. So what you're going to need is some hydrochloric acid. This is hydrochloric acid, and a piece of magnesium like this. So you could use magnesium powder, but it's a very dangerous idea. I tried doing that with aluminum powder, and it's just too vigorous of a reaction, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's better with this because what we're going to do is we're going to have a bit of hydrochloric acid in here, and then just dump this in like that, and then take it out after a little bit. So it's a much safer way because you have more control. And just so you know, this reaction is pretty dangerous, so I'm not going to be making that much. And we're also not going to evaporate this one into powder. You could make it into a powder, but it's pretty dangerous as a powder form. So I'm going to keep it as a liquid form, and then this cap has a seal, so make sure to do it with something that can be closed or it has a lid. Now I'm doing this in a pretty small scale because this stuff is pretty dangerous. Alright, so first thing you're going to do is pour in hydrochloric acid, and I'm probably going to fill it up to like right around there so that I can just have enough room to dunk the magnesium in. I got a funnel here. Now I'm going to start pouring. There. That's perfect. Now I'm going to take out this funnel and go and wash it. I'll leave it here for now. Also, make sure to do this in a ventilated area. I'm just doing this in a... Let me close that. So I'm just doing this in an area where there is a window open right over there. I would do this outside, but it's like cold and snowy out there. It's not good conditions. Alright, so now we have some hydrochloric acid. Now we're going to dunk in the magnesium. Alright, so before the reaction, make sure that you have some gloves and eye goggles. So for this reaction, it's actually not making too dangerous of a product. I did some research and found out that it was only mildly toxic to respiratory and mildly irritant to the eyes and skin. But honestly, I think the reaction is the dangerous part because it's producing a lot of hydrogen gas as well as hydrochloric acid vapors. So make sure if at any point you smell it, just step out of the room you're in, or if you're outside, it's probably fine. Especially in this small of a scale, it's probably won't going to be bad. But make sure you're not exposed to the smell for very long, because that can be very damaging. And you'll know because it hits you. It's like a shock, the smell of hydrochloric acid vapors. It's very, very strong and painful. Alright, so I'm going to open this up and just put in the magnesium for a little bit, and then take it out and put it here. And I'm going to stop once it starts reacting. This thing is kind of hard to open. Okay. I don't want to spill this stuff. Whoa. I think it has to be pushed back. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to do this. Whoa. Immediately fizzed up. Yeah. This is why we're doing it this way. So I can hear it vigorously fizzing up. I'm sure you can hear that as well. There you go. Wow. So we're basically going to do this for a little bit. Just a couple little dunks in there. Don't let it react too vigorously. And whatever you do, do not drop the magnesium in there, because that would be pretty crazy. If you do, just get out of the room you're in, close the door, make sure it's ventilated. Whoa, you can see that? It's all turned white because it's taken off layers there. This is a pretty strong reaction. Alright, I'm gonna let that sit for a bit. Let's put that down. Alright, so I'm back, and now I'm ready to do this again. Just took a little break because I don't want to be exposed to this stuff for too long. I can actually feel the magnesium getting a little warm, which is just crazy how how violent this reaction is. Anyways, the furnace is on. I hope you can still hear me. Alright, let's dunk this in again. And I put up the camera a little closer so you can get a better angle of that. You see those bubbles? Alright. Oh, I can see even the steam coming out of there. Yeah, since this thing gets so hot, it releases hydrochloric acid vapors because of that. Like hydrochloric acid, if you leave it out, you can already smell the vapors because it's like constantly kind of vaporizing into a gas. But especially if it's heated, like in this crazy reaction, it will produce even more vapors, which is not good for my nose or my respiratory system. If you guys have respiratory protection, make sure to put that on. That'll help a lot, especially if you're outside. That's like the best thing you can do, because like even if you smell it, it's like there's so much atmosphere that it'll be really a lot better. It just sucks that it's always snowing here where I live. Alright, we're back after another break. Now we're gonna do this again, and you can see on the magnesium there's a little bit of white precipitant, and sure enough, that is magnesium chloride. Yeah, I found a better way to do this. I could just put the container on top of that lid. Alright, I managed to find a fan, so this thing's perfect. And the thermostat turned off, so the sound will be better. I think I'll actually put on just the first setting and angle it towards the ventilation. There we go. Alright, let's do this again. Alright, I just had lunch and came back, and now ready to start this again. I've had the fan still on, and now it's perfectly ventilated. I don't smell any of the vapors, and it smells just like fresh air, so this is perfect. Alright, now it's starting to hurt. I'm gonna stop this. Alright, I might actually leave it at that, because this video is taking too long. And I mean, you could keep going, depending on the purity you want. Hold on, turn this off. So I guess you could keep going, but I think I'm gonna stop there. And I think this is a pretty decent percentage. So just make sure to label the bottle. And I checked for Witness symbols, and it doesn't actually need any Witness symbols. It's only like mildly dangerous. Yeah, it was mostly just the reaction that was the dangerous part. So I think it's just fine if you label it. I'm gonna be safe and put the exclamation mark Witness symbol, which is the health hazard. But honestly, if it's in powder form, I would definitely recommend putting the sticker on. But in the liquid form, I think it's fine. Now, very important, make sure to rinse off the magnesium chloride off the piece of magnesium, because that's the very dangerous part. So I have a sink here, and I'm just gonna rinse this off. It's okay if, like, as long as you rinse it off with water, since it's water soluble, so it'll just rinse off. I'm gonna turn this up a little. And make sure none of that splashes on you. That's why you should always wear eye protection. And also careful rinsing off chemicals. This is a pretty good way to get rid of excess chemicals, but just make sure it doesn't have aquatic hazard, because you don't want that going down the drain. So stuff like copper acetate, I know that's a aquatic hazard. So don't wash all chemicals down the drain. And I'm gonna also wash this off. And yeah, that's pretty much all. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye. So really quick before I end the video, after I washed this thing, I'm filming this a couple days later. After I washed this thing numerous times, I've noticed it started to look really bad. But it is okay though, because after you rinse it a couple times, all the chemical, since it's soluble, it'll get washed out. So all that you're left with here is probably just oxides and corrosion. So just in case, make sure, if you see this on your piece of magnesium, then don't even worry about it. Maybe just grab a piece of sandpaper and scrape that off.